What is up, everybody? Welcome to Pub Sports Radio and welcome to the Draftkings Picks and Predictions Show. We are here on a Wednesday breaking down UFC Vegas 83. We got Song Yadong going against Chris Gutierrez. We have an 11-fight card after the Marcos Vera fight fell off. And yeah, I mean, it's a card that is very interesting, to say the least. I'm really curious to hear guys' thoughts about it. We are here with Weezy, Monk, and Gordo. We'll kick it to you first, Weezy. Are you looking forward to UFC Vegas 83?
It's a card, it's an interesting one. I've got all these fights written up, ready to go today for the DraftKings show. There's a lot to talk about here. There's a lot to unpack. We're going to take care of it today. We're going to find ways to put in some great lineups here, so I'm fired up for it.
Let's do it. We got Gordo in the building. Gordo, you looking forward to this show and this card?
I am actually, man. With only a couple cards left on the year, it's one where you got to really treasure every fight we have left here. Really drawn from the bottom of the barrel, but a great card next week, and one where I am looking forward to talking some DFS. Now, we're going to talk about this later in the show as well. I maybe have lost my title in our year-long competition, but shout out to Brady for not only being the daddy of this competition, but being a dad in real life as well. Much love to you, Brady.
We have 2 weeks left, Gordo. You're not too far behind. It's going to get interesting. It's going to get interesting for sure. And last but not least, we got Monk, the man behind the train. What is up, Monk? You looking forward to the show?
Yeah, sorry, we started 12 hours late, guys. The train, I got stuck behind the train again. This is definitely a card. I think I got super lucky last week with actually going to the Austin card. It could have been something like this. How terrible would that have been? Never did I think in my wildest dreams that I would hear 10, 15, however many thousand people yelling not obscenities at Cody Brundage. Could you imagine? He was getting cheered out of the building. It was fantastic. 2 slam KOs in a row. Just what a card. So I had to just say that right off the bat because I have nothing else to say about this card. My guy Anthony Smith, Omaha stand-up. We got Song Yadong. Weird that Kelvin Gastelum has to fight 2 weeks in a row, but here we are.
Yeah, Monk, you went to an incredible card, UFC Austin. I went to UFC Austin last year, and it was incredible as well. So I think they need to have more cards in Texas. These Texas cards have been great, but
I certainly won't complain. And
yeah.
I didn't see Steve Garcia, so I don't know how he's doing, but I did see Melky Costa walking around, so he is ready to go for this weekend.
What hairstyle is he rocking?
I think he had pink hair, but he had a hood on. But I thought the pink hair was the neon pink.
Okay, yeah, he's one of those guys that just like changes it up each every fight. So yeah, it'd be interesting there. All right, guys, before we get into it, if you guys could please leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you have not already. We go live every Wednesday, 9:00 p.m. And there were some people here at 9 in the morning. I'm sorry, guys. Apparently I set the stream for like 9 in the morning instead of 9 at night. So appreciate you guys. Everybody's like, "Where's it at?" I think they meant, yeah, it's my bad. But we are here now. 12 hours later. Hope you guys are still hanging around. All right, guys. We're going to get into it here. We're going to start with the fight to target. We'll start with our Uncle Weezy. Weezy, which fight are you targeting the heaviest for UFC Vegas 83?
I think a great one to target is Tim Elliott versus Mudaerji. Now, we don't have a salary yet for Tim, but who cares? We do? What is it?
We do. 8.4.
8.4? Beautiful, man. Targeting Tim Elliott fight is something I've always done since he scored 150 points versus Lou Smoka back in 2017. And actually, the scoring system was different back then in 2017. And if memory serves me correctly, I think he scored in the 170s or 180s in that fight. But I digress. Tim Elliott scores 4.21 DraftKings points per minute. When you add both fighters' scores together in Tim Elliott fights, it averages 132.66 DraftKings points. So his fights are always high volume, back and forth affairs where you're usually getting above average finish bonuses for flyweight fights. So whoever wins this one probably puts up a great score. Striker versus grappler. It should finish. Great fight.
I like it. I like the fact that Tim Elliott's at a very playable number at 8,400 as well. I like that fight. For me, I'm going to go with the co-main event, Khalil Rountree, Anthony Smith. So I'm on the Khalil Rountree side. He's 8,900. I think he probably knocks on Anthony Smith. But, you know, if Anthony Smith gets like a takedown here, gets the fight down to the mat, I think he could potentially finish Rountree. The times we have seen Rountree taken down off his back, I mean, he's looked terrible. Kudalaba finished him. Tyson Pedro finished him. We've seen guys take him down, control him. So yeah, I mean, there's definitely a path here for Smith if he chooses to take it. If he goes out there and tries to strike with them, I think he's getting knocked out. So I'm gonna have more Rountree, but I think Smith's definitely a live dog. Smith's one of those guys you can never count out. And Rountree's a guy that he's hard to trust at times as well. So I think that fight scores well, and I think we get a finish one way or another. Monk, which fight are you targeting for UFC Vegas 83?
Yeah, I love that one for sure. I'm gonna go with Jun-yong Park and André Muniz. This one should be decent. I mean, how do you not love watching Iron Turtle? I don't know one person. Maybe he's not your favorite fighter, but I don't know one person that doesn't like him. 8,800 is a bit much, but he has made the optimal lineup in 4 out of his past 6 fights, has put up triple digits against Duraev, Dennis Tululin, and Joseph Uglyman Holmes 3 fights in a row, while André Muniz is getting demolished by Paul Craig and Brendan Allen in his last 2. So Muniz on the downswing, it seems like, just according to, wiki capping type of things, and Jun-yong Park strong as ever. Either way, I think this fight probably gets finished. Well, I guess I shouldn't say that. If Muniz wins, I think there is a finish, and I think that does score well on DraftKings at 7,400. And if Park wins, it could go to decision. Well, like I said, he's been scoring very well lately. 3.68 points per minute overall and over 100 points per win. So loving this fight as a whole.
Yeah, Jun-yong Park's always going to be known as the guy that just changed DraftKings scoring. I remember the John Phillips fight. I was so high on Park there. He went out there, dominated him. Phillips had 0 success, and he scored something stupid like what was it, Weezy? Like 50 points, something just terrible. And I think you're muted, but I think it was like 40. It was something awful.
He had like 250 strikes, but like 12 of them were significant. So like all of the non-significant strikes went unscored, and everybody was furious, dude. It was crazy because he beat 7 Shades of shit out of that dude, but he didn't score anything.
They counted him with 10 significant strikes at fights. Gosh. Yeah, and then with the new scoring, he scored 127 in that fight. So we will score 127 with the new scoring. So Gordo, which fight are you targeting for this week?
Before I do, can I get a quick Monk check on the Iron Turtle nickname?
Oh, I mean, that's goated. That's like got to be top out of every fighter ever. It's got to be top 20. It's probably even higher than that.
It's up there with like the Muscle Hamster and the Pleasure Man. I get it. Okay.
Oh, I mean,
for my breakdown, we're gonna go. I'm surprised you didn't mention any unnatural salaries too. That's kind of your thing. I was kind of
not yet, but it's. I just heard the other salary from what's his name, Elliott, in that fight. Isn't it 84 and 71?
It is.
Holy shit, dude! You gotta play that one.
Well, you talked about one Park. I will talk about another one. Hyun-sung Park versus Shannon Ross. Again, this is another fight that I think should be highly targeted. But if we really look at any time Shannon Ross steps into the cage, you do have yourselves a quick win bonus in front of you. When you have a guy in Park who is a undefeated fighter, 87% finish rate, he is someone who has typically gone out there and had some high scoring bouts. But it's not only from his side of things fighting someone like Ross. Is I do think that Park is someone who is relatively untested. And although Ross's biggest detriment is his chin, he averages over 6.5 strikes landed per minute. He has the ability to go out there and fight at a high pace. I think this fight is able to be contended at a very, very high pace, whether it be Ross be able to land a lot of volumes or dying within 10 seconds. Either way, it scores very well. I do think it's another one to target.
Yep, Shannon Ross fights have needed to be targeted, that's for sure. I mean, this guy has not lasted long thus far in the UFC. All right, moving on to the fight to fate. I'll kick us off here. We don't have a ton of fights on this card, and there's not really a ton of fights I want to fade. And even this one, I don't really want to completely fade. But I'm going to go with the Rayando Santos Talita Allan card fight. If anything, I'm probably playing the dog in Allan card because I think she has some takedown upside. But I think this fight probably does go the distance. I think there's probably not a lot going on. I think it's going to be semi-competitive. Not a fight I'm in love with, but I might actually sprinkle some Allan card here. But that's like the only fight I would really outright fade. Curious to hear you guys' thoughts on this. We'll start with you, Monk. Which fight are you fading for this week?
Yeah, it was very difficult. Like you said, not a lot of fights. And honestly, I don't want to fade hardly any of them. Yeah. I picked Nasrat, Haqparast, and Jamie Mullarkey just because, like I said, there's not a ton to pick here. They have, 5 fights since the beginning of 2021. No round 1 finishes. Only 4 finishes overall. Less than 42% optimal. Nasrat, scored almost maybe his highest score ever last time, and that was 99 points. So I'm not excited about that. Meanwhile, Mullarkey, loses to guys he's supposed to, loses to guys he's not supposed to. You never know what you're going to get with Mullarkey, except you're really not going to get a 100-point score. He has not put one up in quite a while, at least his last 3 fights. Average per win in his career looks like 71. Maybe that's just his last 5. I don't know. But either way, not a number you like. So give me the big fade on Kelvin and Jamie Mullarkey.
All right, Gordo, which fight are you fading for this week?
Yeah, I don't mind fading that one, but for me, I'll be fading the Jousset versus Kenan fight. To me, this is one that is going to be maybe just on the lower echelon for me. I think it's still one that has some ownership on, especially of the dog hearing Song Kenan, but I think it's 2 lower level fighters, one who don't really implement grappling too much. And although you see that 110 box score from someone like Jousset against Kiefer Crosby, I do think he's getting a step up here. And in both times where we've seen Song Kenan go to decision, he scored 73 and 60. Those are not very good things. He's not the very primary grappler. He was able to land 2 takedowns against Ian Gary, but even in a win, would have only scored 74 there. I do think this is a lower scoring matchup, and one where there are some better options on this card.
All right, and then Weezy, which fight are you fading for this week?
Surprisingly, I'm going to fade that Shannon Ross fight. And because this Hyun-sung Park is the highest priced fighter on the slate this week, and spoiler alert, he's not very good. He just isn't, remember the rule, you guys. Don't fade terrible fighters like Ross with bad fighters like Park, because right now what you're going to do is you're going to be very disappointed if he doesn't go out there and basically pull a Jesus Aguilar and knock this guy out on the first punch. If it takes more than 60 seconds for this guy to finish Shannon Ross, and it probably will. I mean, this fight's probably even getting out of the first round. Because this guy Park he's okay. It's kind of dumb. He didn't even shoot a takedown until halfway through the 3rd round. And after he did, he choked the dude out, Choi, in like 15 seconds. He waited 12 minutes to exercise his best win condition in the fight. I just think it's too much. You look at the names below this guy, they're all way better fighters than this dude. So I kind of feel like you can fade Shannon Ross and just leave him out of your lineups. He's a dart throw, if anything. And you can fade Yadong Song Park. Get yourself some better fighters in there without having to pay up for this dude, because, like I say, you're going to be sorely disappointed if this fight goes more than a couple of minutes.
Sounds like I'm playing Shannon Ross.
You're playing Shannon Ross? I might talk about Ross later, believe it or not, unfortunately. But so I've been checking these lines since Stat Diggers on Sunday, and Park was like -500, -700 now. It's just hilarious to me. Like Weezy's right, he's not that great. Like, I think people are really low on Ross, but which rightfully so. But my gosh, it's -700. All right, I'll move on to the fighter to fade. I'll kick us off here. I'm going with Kevin Jousset, 8,500. I think Gordo, you're fading this fight as a whole. I'm fading Jousset here. He just doesn't do anything. I know he scored really well in his debut against Kiefer Crosby. Crosby does not belong in the UFC. I think Song would knock him out in a couple minutes there. But yeah, I mean, this guy's low volume. He doesn't throw much. I don't see any grappling here. I think it's going to be primarily standing. And I actually like the dog here in Song as well as another reason to fade him. So I'm not playing any Kevin Jousset. I don't think he's finishing Song. I think Song's 10 times better than Crosby. So give me Kevin Jousset as a fade here. Uncle Weezy, who are you fading this week?
I've got Nasrat Haqparast as the fade this week. He only scores 2.93 DraftKings points per minute and his 84 DraftKings points per win. It's not the kind of upside I'm looking for this week, especially at 8,700. I see way more finish upside in the fighters around him, so I'll pass on Nasrat.
All right, Gordo, which fighter are you fading this week?
I'll be fading Luana Santos, and I know it's a interesting prospect to fade someone who does have 116 points in her one fight so far in the UFC, but I do think she's got a lot of handle in front of her, and if we're talking about this entire range, I do think she could be somewhat limited, not due to her skill set, but just due to the person in front of her. A lot of the trips that Santos likes to do for this ground exchanges do involve judo as well, and she's not only going up in weight, but she's facing someone who is also a judo practitioner. You look at the striking metric as well, and Egger, although someone who is a primary grappler, she limits those striking exchanges, only absorbs 2.08 strikes landed per minute, making for a really, really slow pace. So if I'm going out there and I'm saying, okay, in this mid-range, would I prefer a Tim Elliott, a Nasrat Haqparast? I think both those guys not only have potential ability to win their fight just as much, but have more volume incorporated as well. I think the ceiling for Santos is pretty limited this week, although it's not like to say that she is going to lose. I just think that she's facing someone who likes to neutralize her opponents, and I do think Egger is able to do that this week.
And then I think Monk, which fighter are you fading?
Yeah, it's going to be Haqparast at 8,700. I mean, the only favorite that scores less than him per win, and I know it's a small sample size for Park, is Hyun-sung Park. He put up 72 total, but everybody else scores well over what Haqparast is averaging per win. So for the reasons I already said, and you know what Weezy said, and for that point total, I mean 84 points per win. Yikes! So yeah, give me the fade on Mr. Haqparast.
Yeah, I was shocked to see Haqparast only scored 99 in his last fight, and this dude landed almost 200 significant strikes, which is just ridiculous. So, yeah, I think that's an easy fade there, because he's not landing 200 against Mullarkey, that's for sure. All right, we'll move on then. Let's talk our favorite dog. Honestly, I'm kind of struggling with a dog this week. There's a lot that I like, but not one that I really love. Like last week, I really liked Figgy and whatnot, but yeah, this week I'm really struggling to find out one I really like. So maybe you guys can help me out here. We'll start with you, Gordo. Who's your favorite dog this week?
Oh, well, mine's going to be swinging for the fences here. It's going to be a risk indeed, but let's go with the grizzled vet in the co-main event, Anthony Smith. And I know the line's going the other direction of me. And I know it's someone where you look at it, you think back at a macro perspective, and it's like, okay, you got this power puncher, this beast in Khalil Rountree against this aging fighter in Smith. Maybe in theory, it's not the best strategy. But if we look at an overall body of work, we have someone in Khalil Rountree who is really just been a really inconsistent fighter. He hasn't really showed up the best of his ability. He is someone who, although he has a lot of power, can lose minutes. Lost a decision, Marcin Prachnio. He isn't the most overall well-rounded fighter, right? A ton of power you have to give him there. But what he has in front of him is someone in Anthony Smith who's a grizzled veteran who is considerably, in my opinion, taking a little bit of a step down in competition and should have some advantages not only in minute winning ability, but also in the mat here. I think that the grappling of someone like Anthony Smith goes very, very underlooked in a lot of these matchups here. And I do think he's able to have some success. He could go out there and score very well. And if you're at a salary of 7.3K into someone who has been dominating the match as much as Rountree has, he's the same guy who scored 120 against Span, 100 against Crute, 98 against Clark. I do think he has a very, very good amount of upside for someone who I think is just the more proven fighter who I can see a consistent product out of. So I know not the most confident thing trusting an aging guy like Smith, but I do think he can get it done at 7.3.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. I mean, he could get knocked out brutally, but I like it. I mean, the path is there to score very well. Weezy, who is your favorite dog this week?
I'll go with André Muniz. There's big upside for André here in a win. He's averaging 95.53 DraftKings points per win. 3 of his 5 UFC wins come by way of first round submission. Muniz is on a 2-fight losing streak, so his price is at an all-time low, and he's really not going to be out of his depth anywhere in this fight except for durability, output, and conditioning. So if he can get an early takedown, he'll be in business to show some nice value with a lot of upside this week. And frankly, you know, Jun-yong Park is not like this one punch knockout guy on the feet either. So if Jun-yong is a little bit reckless going after him because he is going to pressure, he is going to throw a lot of volume. I think that Muniz is live. Also, don't forget, Muniz is a southpaw. Jun-yong Park's an orthodox fighter. Park's best weapon is the jab. Jab doesn't work as well against southpaws. I think we could see Muniz actually kind of win some of the striking exchanges here on the feet potentially because of that massive size advantage that he's going to have. And God help Jun-yong Park if this thing goes to the ground. So I think Muniz is a pretty good dog this week.
Yep, I'm right there with you. Hopefully he doesn't fall in love with the box. I think that first round sub's super live for Muniz there. Yeah, so I like Muniz. I like Smith, but the one I'm gonna get a little crazy here. I'm gonna actually go with Stephanie Egger. She's sitting at 7,600. I think this fight's super close. I think Egger can actually have success getting this fight down to the mat, getting on top. When she's on top, she's super heavy. Her control's really good. And not only that, she's really dangerous. Multiple finishes in the UFC. She has a good grappling game, good ground and pound as well. And, you know, Santos, she's just not proven at all. I mean, she went out there and beat Juliana Miller in the first round. That tells me literally nothing. I think Egger can have some success here, potentially even get a finish, but at the very least get some takedowns, control time here at 7,600. So give me Egger. But I like those 2 dogs as well. I'm going to be pretty evenly split on a lot of these dogs this week, I think. Monk, which is your favorite dog this week?
Yeah, it was Stephanie Egger as well at 7,600, I believe. The line just seems a bit wide here. She did beat Aylin Perez, subbed her in the second round. That win is aging very, very well. Her only 2 losses in her last 5 are to Mayra Bueno Silva, who I think is fighting for a title, even though she got busted for something. I don't really know what's going on there. And Arina Alexieva, who is, the Russian Ronda Rousey, guys. So that is not anything to take lightly. So those are her only 2 losses. Someone that is exactly like Ronda, but just happens to be from Russia, and Mayra Bueno Silva. So pretty good resume there in her last 3. So yeah, I'm just thinking Stephanie Egger, like you said, she's very heavy on top. She scores extremely well when her offense is flowing. Almost 4.5 points a minute, second best on the card. DraftKings points per win at almost 108, and has made the optimal lineup a couple times. So yeah, I regretted this last time I picked her, but Stephanie Egger.
All right, there we go. Let's move on to some prize picks here. I'm going to kick it to our Uncle Weezy first. Weezy, what is your favorite play on prize picks this week? Man, it's one of those days.
Yeah, I just brought up my significant strikes template here, and I filled it all out today, and I didn't come up with a pick. So why don't you guys go first, and I will come up with something that'll blow your fucking minds.
All right, yeah, I'm gonna go with Tatsuro Taira. So the fight time set at 12.5 minutes. I mean, I think he can sub this guy in 1 round. Yeah, I mean, 12.5, it just seems like a lot. Like, I think Taira is gonna have no problem getting takedowns. Carlos Hernandez's takedown defense has nothing to write home about, and Taira's ground game is very good. He's a really good grappler. We saw Allan Nascimento go out there and sub Hernandez in the first round. So yeah, I think 1 takedown could be the fight type situation. I think Taira can even take his back standing. But I think within the first 2 rounds, at least he gets him out of there. So I like that 12.5 minutes quite a bit. Monk, we'll go to you. Do you have a prize picks play you like this week?
Yeah, I'm just double checking one thing. The one that jumped out to me was actually Song Yadong under 21 minutes. I just have a feeling this one gets finished early. Gutierrez not one for, many. I know he's been going to decision lately a little bit. But both guys very capable of finishing the fight. Neither guy has gone 5 rounds a ton. I don't know if Gutierrez has ever been in a 5-round fight. I know Song Yadong was just in at least one against Corey Sandett, and Ricky Simone. So he did go 5 rounds with Simone, but I don't think Gutierrez is either going to chop the legs of Song Yadong, or Gutierrez is going to get handled on the feet. And either way, I just don't see this getting out of like the 3rd, maybe even halfway through the 4th. I just think 21 minutes is a long time for these 2 guys specifically. So give me the under on Song Yadong, 21 minutes of fight time.
All right, Gordo, did you have a prize picks play you like this week?
I got one I love. We are going to go with the under 89.5 fantasy score for Kevin Jousset. I think that line is just a bit too high for someone who I barely even I don't even think I predicted him to win this one. I think it's a big step up in competition, although he has a 110-point box score in his last one. Not much grappling equity, not much really finish upside here, I don't think either. I think he's got a tough matchup. It's going to involve a lot of striking, although he could potentially win it. I don't see him scoring above 90 points a lot of the time. I'm taking the under here, and I'm pretty confident.
Yep, I have the one written down as well, actually. Weezy, which play do you like this week? You find something you like?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at Luana Santos under 47.5 significant strikes. Stephanie Egger absorbs about 2.08 significant strikes per minute in her fights. At that pace, you need about a 25-minute fight to get about 47 significant strikes. This is high-level judo black belt against high-level judo black belt. So there is actually a chance that they stand in the center of the cage and just bang, which would be hilarious because neither one of these ladies could hit water if they fell out of a boat. So I kind of feel like no matter what happens here, it's going to be hard for either one of these ladies to land 48 significant strikes in an hour, much less in 15 minutes. So under 47.5 for Luana Santos, I like that.
Yeah, I'm seeing the exact same. Yep.
And Stephanie Egger has never absorbed more than 47.5 significant strikes in her entire UFC career.
There you go. I think the reason they're doing that is because against Juliana Miller, I imagine Santos probably landed like 70 strikes. Yeah, I think that's why they're doing that. But
exactly.
Yeah, I think this fight does primarily play, against the, in the clinch, against the cage, and then on the ground as well. That's kind of how I'm seeing it, on the ground. All right, so we got prize picks out of the way. We'll move on to our favorite GPP play. And I talked about this fight for the fight to target. My favorite GPP play is going to be Khalil Rountree, 8,900. Yeah, I mean, Khalil Rountree is one of those guys where, sometimes he shows up, sometimes he doesn't. But, the last several fights, he's been showing up. He's been looking good. He's been being consistent, which is something we don't really see from Khalil Rountree. He's been looking like a killer, like, back to back knockouts. He had that brutal knockout win against Chris Daukaus, that knockout win against Carl Roberson. Did good a decision with Dustin Jacoby. I thought he lost that fight, but prior to that Bukauskas knockout, he's been looking good. He's been looking dangerous. Anthony Smith, although I think he has a path to victory. Me and Weezy talked about it on Stat Diggers. Like, his path to victory, in my opinion, is probably getting the fight down to the mat. I think he has a significant advantage there. He doesn't really go for a lot of takedowns. He hasn't really gotten a lot of takedowns. And if that's the case, if he goes out there and strikes with Rountree, I don't really like his chances there. So I kind of lean like a Rountree first or second round brutal knockout. And at 8,900, I think he scores very well in a win. Monk, who is your favorite GPP play this week?
We're going with the pink hairdo himself, Melky Costa. After last week, I mean, I loved him last week. I think the line is like, excuse me, a line is like 10 cents wider maybe this week, something like that. Last time I looked, but I mean, Steve Garcia is super, super chinny. One of the worst, probably the worst chin decks on the entire card, maybe in the weight class. I know a lot of that is the 3 knockdowns that Chase Hooper, the Incredible Hulk Chase Hooper, knocked him down 3 times. And then Wolverine, I think is Shailan Nurdembeek, the Wolverine. He knocked him down once as well. And he's also been knocked down once before that. So this one, yeah, it's going to be a banger, but I think I think this is his time to shine. And I think he's got to do it here. I think he's got a good chance against Garcia. He's got a great, probability going against a very chinny guy of scoring a big knockout. So give me Costa at 9K. A lot of interesting 9K guys this week, but I think Costa is one of my favorite GPPs out of the bunch.
Monk, off the top of your head, these guys were supposed to fight last week, right? Do you remember what the salaries were last week? Was it the same? Was the 8,900?
I think it was 89 and 73. Okay, so it is a bit wide. It should be accurate if the line indeed was 10 cents wider.
Yeah, makes sense. Weezy, who's your favorite GPP play this week?
Yeah, it's Mel Costa as well. I think it's a great matchup for him. And, like Monk mentioned, you're talking about nine knockdowns in Mel Costa or in Steve Garcia fights in just 5 minutes of distance striking time. So it's going to be something where I just believe somebody's going to get served, but it's a southpaw versus southpaw matchup. And I think Melk's got more tools. So I really do think with his kicks, he'll be the one landing the bigger shots here. Garcia's just too hittable. He's entirely too hittable. So I just think it's Melk who lands the big shot first, gets him out of there early, and that's a high upside option.
Last thing, super quick. Wasn't the fight called off like the day before last week due to illness?
The day of
the weigh-in day.
Right, weigh-in day. So he clearly had weight cutting issues the week ago. So we're going into it again. I love Costa here.
Yeah.
Yep. I think that's one of the reasons why this line is kind of where it's at now. Gordo, what do you got for your favorite GPP play?
Yeah, my favorite GPP play is going to be actually this man who just got the blonde haircut now, Tatsuro Taira. He's someone who I think is going to be someone who, you know what?
Shoot the box, Taira? What's going on?
Wow.
Yeah, that's a mythical creature.
Oh, fuck.
It's almost, hey, just wait till you see Shannon Ross's haircut. Then we'll be in trouble.
What?
But Taira is someone who I just think has this incredible ceiling here, right? He is a phenomenal grappler. He has gone out there, put up good scores before, and he's facing someone who was submitted in that very first round. There is a bit of risk because he doesn't throw as much volume as you'd like to from someone who is at 9.4K, but he is someone with a lot of first round upside. He is someone with a lot of finish upside, and whose path to victory would typically go out there and involve takedowns. I do think he has a very high ceiling this week, and he is someone I'm looking to target.
All right, yeah, I looked up his haircut. I like it. It looks good to me. So really looking forward to seeing that haircut in action. And then I tried to look up Shannon Ross's haircut. Oh gosh, yeah, it's interesting, huh?
I thought you were just messing around. Did he actually do something to his hair?
Let me pull.
I was kidding. I had no idea. Does he actually have a haircut?
He has something going on. I can share it. Curious to hear you guys' thoughts on it. Let's see. There it is.
Is it delightful?
Uh,
It's not. It's all right. Not the
Is
worst.
Is he teaching people how to get knocked out safely, or what's going on in this?
I don't know what he's doing, but that's it. All right. So I think we got everybody there. Okay, we'll move on to our favorite cash play. Then we'll start with you, Gordo. Who you like for cash this week?
Main event, Song Yadong, 9.2, large favorite in this spot, and someone who I do think wins at a very high clip. I'm not the biggest Gutierrez guy. I remember betting on Allan Haley. Looking stupid doing so, but that really just tells you my confidence. I also bet Pedro Munoz against Gutierrez, so I am someone who likes to fade Gutierrez. I think he's a very one-dimensional guy who's very good at what he does, but when put on the back foot, when implemented with some grappling against him, he's going to be put in a lot of precarious situations, and I kind of agree that Song should be a big favorite. Song is a more proven guy, someone who has more ability to mix it up, is just as powerful with the hands, and is someone who I see win this fight a lot of the time. He's my playing clash. I do think this card is built around him, and he is someone I'm looking to target.
Yep, same thing for me. I think it's a great cash play. 5 rounds to work with. I love the volume. I love the power. I love the cardio. I think he even has sneaky wrestling upside if he wants it as well. But yeah, I think he either gets like a late knockout here, potential decision as well could be in the play. But yeah, I think no matter what happens here, I think he scores really well. So yeah, give me Song Yadong as well. I think he's a great cash play this week. Monk, who you like for cash?
Love that one. He scored fantastically lately in his 5-round fights and looked great in his last fight. But give me the blonde bomber, Tatsuro Taira. Why not? Favorite cash play, 90. What is it? 400 here. I think, Taira seems to be very consistently riding that 100-point mark, and I'm just fine with that in cash at 9,400. I think that's great. 3-round decision against Chavez, 99 points. 3-round decision against Carlos Candelario, 96. And he put up 107 and 103 in his other 2 fights. So Hernandez is a guy with a lot of holes in his game. Just do the tape on the Allan Nascimento fight, and you shouldn't have to do much more tape than that for Carlos Hernandez. Was taken down a couple times, controlled for majority. I know the fight only lasted over 3 minutes, but was controlled for 73% of that fight. So I expect Taira, blonde Taira. I mean, this is a new revelation here. I'm now super excited for the Tatsuro Taira. But yeah, I think a lot of people are going to go with Hyun-sung Kim. I forget his name. I'm so sorry. 9,600 or Park. Excuse me, at 9,600. But I think Taira is a decent pivot, and I think he could, outscore some of these higher priced guys, even if they are facing Shannon Ross.
Young.
I didn't know what I was
Isn't
saying.
that a rapper? Young.
Yeah, I said Hyung. I got the H in there at least.
Okay, my bad. All right.
I think I got it's a lot of. I'm also doing tons of data mining, getting my new spreadsheet going, and I'm in the Japanese fighters right now and Korean fighters. So a lot of Kyung Ho Parks, Kyung Ho Kang, stuff like that. So it's all it's all up there rolling around.
Young Kim is actually a United States representative.
I meant Lil Kim. Lil Kim, excuse me.
Lil Kim is a rapper. Yeah. For sure. All right. Weezy, who's your favorite cash play this week?
Song Yadong as well. It's 5-round fight, 3.06 DraftKings points per minute, gives us a base of around 76 points scored in a decision loss. And the bookies are shading this fight to finish inside the distance, but the over 3.5 is juiced to the over. So I feel like we got a good amount of minutes to rack up some points. Song's almost 80% implied to win this fight. So he's a safe 5-round option with a high win probability to get you a high floor and also a pretty good ceiling option in any cash game here. And if he gets knocked out, you won't be the only one that's surprised, I promise.
Yep, that's for sure. All right, we'll move on to our favorite value play here. We'll see if we can find some value on this card. We'll start with you, Monk. Who is your favorite value play for this week?
Risky, but you know what? With being in 4th place in the pub sports, I got to get a little risky. So this guy might go in my lineup. And since he is now fighting a very low salaried guy, or low salary for a favorite, I think there's a ton of value here. Mudaerji. He should be 7,800 if you're basing off of Tim Elliott's $8,400 salary, and he is still at 71. So inherent value there. Unfortunately, I think for us to cash that, we're going to have to see a round 1 finish, possibly first 7 minutes. I mean, just if you didn't do tape, just do yourself a favor and go back and watch Mudaerji's last fight against Matt Schnell. I was going to say, I already messed up one name. I don't want to mess up two. Matt Schnell, fight of the year, possibly one of the greatest fights that we've seen ever. Tim Elliott is a tough son of a bitch, but he has been finished before. So yeah, I think we need an early Mudaerji finish to cash this ticket. It's not necessarily going to happen. I don't think it's very probable, but I think if it does happen, he scores well. 7,100 inherent value. So obviously going as one of my favorite value plays this week.
Yeah, I mean it's weird. I'm actually going Tim Elliott as value, but yeah,
right.
Mudaerji's value as well. Like this guy should be priced, like you said, 7,800 would make a lot more sense. With Tim Elliott being 8,400 there. But yeah, I'm going Tim Elliott just because I really like this matchup for him. The thing Mudaerji struggles with is the grappling. I mean, his grappling. Anytime we've seen him taken down. Anytime we've seen him on his back, he's looked atrocious. He's getting finished. Tim Elliott, he's coming in here on short notice. I don't like that, but he's a veteran. He has over 30 fights, and he's a very, very good wrestler. Tim Elliott's averaging almost 4 takedowns per 15 minutes, and if he gets his fight down on the mat, like Tim Elliott can grapple, and I think his sub's super live. Mudaerji's been finished 5 times by submission. That's how he loses. That's what he struggled with. I think a lot of people expected Allan Nascimento to go out there and get a sub against this guy, and I kind of think Tim Elliott's lot to do so as well. Again, the short notice kind of scares me, but I think he's going to have some early wrestling success, and I think the sub could be on the table there for one Tim Elliott. But I'm right there with you, Monk. I think if Mudaerji wins at 7,100, I think it could even be a knockout or something like that. The guy has serious power for the flyweight division. Weezy, who are you liking for value this week?
Well, that's why I had Elliott and Mudaerji as the fight to target, because they're both phenomenal options this week. But I'll give you guys Mudaerji. He's ultra cheap. He's got a ton of KO upside, and he's got huge power in his left hand. His ground game is pretty ass, but this is Tim Elliott on very short notice. So Sue is very live to land a big shot here. And frankly, Sue was training for a much more dangerous grappler in Allan Nascimento. All right. So there are some things that I think are a big deal when you're taking short notice fights. A couple weeks ago, we saw Uros Medic, who was training for a pure kickboxer in Johnny Parsons, go out there and get his ass shaved by Oral Guy, because the guy's a wrestler and he wasn't training for that. Now you got a guy in Sue who was training for a pure not a pure grappler, but a phenomenal grappler in Nascimento. And now he's kind of getting the dollar store version, because Tim Elliott's submission game is nowhere near what Nascimento's is. But Tim Elliott's got better wrestling than Nascimento. But, he should be able to get back up if he gets taken down. And if he does do that a couple of times, Tim's going to get tired. And if Tim gets tired, Sue's going to find a big shot here. So, and we saw Sue kind of survive a little bit with Matt Schnell on him early in that fight. So I think he's improving. I think Sue at 7,100 is a phenomenal option this week.
Yep, totally agree. Gordo, who are you liking for some value this week?
2 for Mudaerji, 2 for Elliott. Give me Tim Elliott this week. I'm on the side of, yes, it is cautious. It is a short notice replacement, but I like his style matchup here. I know that he isn't as of a proactive grappler, but he is a better wrestler, in my opinion, who will push a pace, especially on that short notice nature. I am more confident in him going out there and shooting more takedowns. I think his path to victory scores very, very well and looks like a hindsight favorite at his price tag. Now, since we already talked about that, just give a quick other option just to be a bit different here. André Muniz, 7.4K. His path to victory is early success, and that'll score very, very well. Hindsight value play, one of those risky ones in doing so, because I do think he fades late, but someone who has a round 1 victory upside and someone who could look like hindsight value in a win.
I heard there was a baby crying. I'm like, whose baby is that? Oh, it's my baby. I'm still not used to it. I'm like, what's going on? But
whose baby? Hey, whose baby is that?
Who's out there?
It's Shannon Ross.
Yes, it may be. All right. So we'll move on to our dart throws. Speaking of Shannon Ross, I don't know if I was like this because like the 1 hour of sleep I got 2 nights ago, but I did actually put Shannon Ross just because like Weezy was talking about earlier. I mean, Hyun-sung Park should not be minus 700 against anybody. He's not a guy with punching power. He's a guy that, like we said, in his debut, I was like yelling at the TV for this guy. This guy's a grappler. It took him till like halfway through the 3rd round to shoot a takedown. Like, I'm not sure what he's doing. And yeah, I was actually impressed with Shannon Ross prior to his Contender Series fight. It's just he doesn't have that durability. I mean, there's a good chance he gets knocked out here or subbed, and that's actually what I'm picking. I think he does get subbed, but I think skill for skill, these guys are much, much closer than the line does indicate. So I will be sprinkling some Shannon Ross. It's ugly, it's dirty, but so was Cody Brundage last week, and he went out there and pulled off a nice upset there. So it's a little sprinkle on Shannon Ross, although there is a good chance he does get knocked out. Weezy, who's your dart throw for this week?
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's Shannon Ross. I mean, it's his last UFC fight. I mean, win or lose, probably. I don't think he's getting another contract. And, there could be some low-owned upside in Shannon Ross this week because, frankly, like we said, Hyun-sung Park's okay. I mean, I don't think he's the next, Korean zombie or anything like that. And, if he hangs around, it's not a bad punt option, and it can allow you to get 5 fighters that you think are going to win in your lineup if there's 1 or 2 underdogs that you like or mid-priced options.
Yeah, it's ugly, but that's why it's a dart throw. Monk, who are you liking as a dart throw this week?
Maybe it's not a dart throw. I had Shannon Ross as well. I mean, dude, bottom line, this dude, Hyun-sung Park, and I'm looking at his name, so I know I said it right. You won't get me this time. This dude probably maybe doesn't deserve to be, shouldn't be in the UFC. I don't know. I mean, maybe Shannon Ross doesn't either. This is Glass Joe, like the legitimate real life Glass Joe. You touch his chin and he's going to go down. If he can do something before Park touches his chin, he's a dart throw at 6,600, 6,700, whatever the case may be. But I mean, how can you be confident in Park? This dude's a fighter. His nickname is Peace of Mind. I don't know if that's good or bad. I haven't decided yet. But yeah, paying 9,500. I'm pretty sure that's probably bad for him. And I mean, who's not counting Shannon Ross out? Dude doesn't even score 1 point a minute. Like, of course he's going to go out there and beat the most expensive fighter on the card. The dude's a no-name fight. He's a brand new fighter, like shouldn't be in the UFC, won some tournament to get here. Didn't look great, like you said, Brady. Took him 13 and a half minutes to shoot a takedown, and then he finishes the fight immediately. Like, Shannon, this is going to happen. It's going to happen. We know it's going to happen. It's Shannon Ross.
Shannon Ross. Who did you say the Peace of Mind was? Is that Park's?
That's Hyun-sung Park, yeah.
I don't like it, to be honest, but
I don't either.
That's just my opinion. I mean, I think that's terrible. But,
I agree. I think it's like when Ron Artest did the whole Malice at the Palace, and then next year he was Meta World Peace, and we're like, Ron Artest, what are you doing? Brady, Ron Artest was a guy he played professional basketball.
I know Ron Artest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Heck yeah. All right. Gordo, you don't have Shannon Ross written down, do you?
You guys take the fun away.
One of us.
Yeah, I got Shannon Ross, and I'll tell you something right now. All right.
Holy crap.
This is my last video. This is my last bit of content in 2023, and I'm ending this. And Shannon Ross is in my lineup this week. I'm not lying. He is. I'm taking the crown back from Brady this week, and I'm paying the risk because here's the thing: is you guys explained all the danger of it. The chin is not there, but at chin parity, I know that's not a thing. At chin parity, I think he could win this fight. He is the more active fighter. He's the more proven guy. I know those I'm messing up the names now too. Although Peace of Mind is going out there and neutralizing his opponents, he's beaten Taekwondo guys with negative records on the ground. He's going out there and out striking guys who are going to be slower to the punch. This is going to be the first guy to really drag him in deep water. And as long as Shannon Ross's chin holds up, he could have some success. Now, at first, I would have thought that he would have extremely low ownership, right? Maybe not by the way you guys are talking about him, but you're getting a guy who has slate breaking potential to go out there and drown an unproven guy. And although Shannon Ross absorbs over 8.5 strikes per minute, which is hilarious considering he can't even absorb one, he is someone who does land a bunch, does have upside. So incredibly terrifying notion, incredibly ugly. And I know Dixon Sider is going to laugh at me here too. I'm not the only one. All 4 of us are playing Shannon Ross as dart throws. We are insane. And only one of us has no sleep because of the baby. And you know what, man? I think that this is a spot where there is some upside. There is some ability for him to go out there. He has slate breaking potential. I'm not saying to roster him in every single one of your lineups, but he is a dart throw this week.
You're not going to roster him?
Oh, gosh.
Oh.
Now we have to.
You might have to. Oh, gosh. Yeah, we don't talk at all really before the show. We don't exchange notes, but we literally all wrote down Shannon Ross. I mean,
I can't believe that just happened. I didn't even think I was going to say him, and then we all did.
Yeah,
fantastic.
That's actually maybe that's a sign.
475 right now on the money line. Plus 475.
Who is Hyun-sung
tempting,
Park?
It's actually tempting.
It is.
It's so tempting.
This guy Park is not great.
Yep.
He's not great. Dude, I mean, like, anybody could get knocked out by Jesus Aguilar. That could happen to anybody. The guy's got a 58-inch reach and he hits like a truck. Sure, it was his only knockdown and knockout. It doesn't matter. It could happen to anybody. Plus 475. Who's coming with me?
Huh?
Come on, guys. Who's coming with me?
I'll do it.
I'll follow you out of this burger stand.
You know what, Weezy? I'm not only going to follow you. 5 units to win.
Yes!
23.75 units. 24
Put the
units.
kids' college money
I
on
was
it.
gonna say that's the college. This is the beginning of the college fund. Thank you, Shannon Ross.
Shannon Ross is going to make or break my kids' college fund. Let's go. Is he going to Penn State or some community college?
Or Northern Illinois? We will find out this Saturday.
Where's he going, Shannon Ross? No, I am not putting anywhere near 5 units, but it is kind of tempting. Maybe like a little sprinkle. All right, gosh. Okay, we'll move on then to the lineups from last week. I'll give our lineups for this week. If you guys have any questions in the chat, be sure to put them in the comments section. We have a couple comments. I'll pull them up after. But last week we had for UFC Austin, which was a great card. Monk, you got to see a very good card last week. That was awesome. Probably the fight night of the year. And you did not get last, which is good.
Yeah,
I
got home and I was like, I saw it was first in Brian's thing. I was like, what happened? I need to go to more cards.
Heck yeah. Good job. So, and fourth is Gordo. He had Zachary's 2.8, Sarukian 103, Jalen Turner 113, Gaslam 13, Figueiredo 76, and then Clay Guida 39. Gordo scored 348.97. In third place was Weezy, Sarukian 103, Silva 70, Turner 113, Horth 35, Figueiredo 76, Brundage 101. Weezy scored 501.88. Second place was Monk, Soriano 12, Sarukian 103, Turner 113, Brady 108, Figueiredo 76, Brundage 101. Monk scored 516.84. And then in first place, myself, Sarukian 103, Silva 80, Turner 113, Brady 108, Figueiredo 76, Gooden 98, scoring 572.07. Me and Gordo were really close prior to last week. I think I was down 50 points last week, Gordo?
56.
And there has been a new leader with 2 cards to go. Right now we got Monk. It was some authority there. I can't believe it. Monk 16,181 in fourth. Weezy third 16,434. Gordo second 16,987. And then myself first 17,151. Gordo, you're now 164 behind me. Weezy, you're 717 behind, and then Monk, you're 970 behind. So Gordo, you have 2 cards left, and we'll see if you can get it going. You have Shannon Ross in your lineup. I don't. So I mean, if he wins, I mean that's that could help.
When he wins,
we'll see if I still have the balls to do so on Saturday. But for right now, I do have him. I do. I'm not lying.
All right. Gordo, do you want to kick us off with your lineup then?
Stars and scrubs, baby. Up top, we do have ourselves Song Yadong, Tatsuro, Taira, Melk Costa, Tim Elliott, Anthony Smith, and Shannon Ross.
All right, Monk, what do you got for this week?
I feel like the lineup I just had disappeared. Here we go. I hope this isn't what you said, Gordo. I was frantically looking for my lineup. Tatsuro, Taira, Song Yadong, Iron Turtle, Kenan Song, Jamie Mullarkey, and Anthony Smith. That'll probably change. I don't mind it, but man, Shannon Ross is calling.
Yeah, mine's probably going to change as well, but right now I'm actually stacking in the main event. Gutierrez, Song, I have Mudaerji, I have Jun-yong Park, Khalil Rountree, and then I have Melk Costa. Weezy, what do you got for this week?
I've got Yadong Song, Khalil Rountree, Melk Costa, Rayan Amanda, André Muniz, and Mudaerji.
All right. There you go. We'll see how this shakes out. 2 weeks left, 41 cards in. Looking forward to seeing who gets it done. All right. We're going to pull up some questions, and then we will head out of here. The first question is from D-Man. He is asking about a potential Song KO. I could see a potential Song KO. I don't know. What do you guys think? You think Song knocks out Gutierrez, guys?
I think he's
got
got
5
a
rounds to do it.
decent chance. Yeah, I think that Ricky Simone fight I was a big Simone guy, and that kind of put me in my place.
Weezy, any thoughts? You think he puts him out or decision? Or
I'm leaning decision, but I mean, I think it's going to be a war. You know, I think these guys are going to beat each other up badly. So I could see it going either way. But I don't mind Song KO.
Yeah, I don't know what the odds are on that. I'm not playing the main event, I don't think, but I do like Song to win outright. Let's see. D-Man also says Shannon Ross championship run starting. Can you imagine? I mean, that would be one of the best comebacks I've ever in sports history. You know,
that would be amazing.
It'd be the best.
Together like 17 wins because nobody would believe it. You know, like
when Leicester City won the cup, all you footy fans out there, it'd be like that. Unheard of.
Do we know if Daniel Marcus is getting in a fight? I mean, I hope not at this point in the week. Like, I hope not. He was supposed to fight Brandon Vera, right, or whatever his name was, Vera. Which, by the way,
he just got removed from the roster.
I was gonna say he got cut. Like, he got signed on like Monday, and he got cut today. So I'm not sure what happened. That's weird. They just cut Vera. He's not on the UFC anymore, which is weird.
Huh.
See, I hope he doesn't fight this week. Just because then DraftKings would take till fight day to get salaries out.
Yeah.
Y'all thirsty for that Turkish Delight? Is that his nickname, right? Turkish Delight?
Yeah. He's from Australia, but
Monk, what do you think?
Turkish Delight. Notoriously a gross candy kind of thing, but not a fan of that nickname. But yeah, I guess sign me up for the old Turkish Delight this week.
Oh gosh. And thoughts on the Hurricane Oilers? I think you might be on the wrong show. I mean, that's
Hurricanes are bad, but
yeah, hurricanes are very bad, and
tornadoes are bad.
Oil spills on these bodies of water. It's
that's what happens when you live on a gulf. You know what I'm saying?
You got that right.
Yeah.
Oilers have won 4 straight. Hurricanes have beat them in their last performance 5 games ago, but at this point, finally defense is coming up for the Oilers. We know what their offense can do. Give me the Oilers at home.
Look at that. Some
like
hockey.
That's how you know there's a Canadian on the panel, ladies and gentlemen. There we go.
We just gotta hide this jersey back here. We're good.
Yeah, look at that. Never thought we'd get some hockey analysis, but we did, and I love it.
You can take the Gordo out of Canada, right?
Yes.
Take the Canada out of Gordo.
All right, so we don't get yelled at in the comments. We got to do our quick picks. We're going to start with our Uncle Weezy. You got your quick picks ready for this week?
Yeah, I haven't done a show this week other than Stat Diggers, so I don't have picks, but I'm going to just like go from what I've already got on the top of my head. I'm going Yadong Song, we'll say decision, Rountree, second round knockout, Mudaerji decision, Nasrat Haqparast decision, Park decision, Song Kenan Jousset, I don't know. I don't care. Hyun-sung Park, second round submission. Mel Costa, first round knockout. Stephanie Egger by decision. Tatsuro Taira, first round submission. Rando Santos by decision.
All right, I'll go top to bottom as well. Song Yadong decision. Khalil Rountree KO1. Elliott sub 2, Jun-yong Park KO3, Haqparast KO3, Hyun-sung Park sub 2, Tatsuro Taira sub 1, Song Kenan decision, Stephanie Egger decision. I don't know why I had Allan Carr highlighted there. Rando Santos decision, Mel Costa KO1. Monk, what do you got for quick picks this week?
Yeah, we'll go Song Yadong round 4 KO. We'll go, man. I don't want to. Well, fuck it. Anthony, this is my pick. I can do what I want. Anthony Smith by decision, greasy decision. Let's go. Mudaerji. Like I said, round 1. We got to get that finish here for him to win. We'll go Nasrat Haqparast decision. We'll go Jun-yong Park round 2 KO TKO, maybe some ground and pound. We'll go Song Kenan decision. We will go. You know, I don't just talk about it. I be about it. Shannon Ross, round 1. I don't care. I'm not picking sub KO. If it's round 1, it should pay plus 3,000 for Shannon Ross. Let's go. We'll go Melky Costa. We'll go first round KO. Stephanie Ager, we're gonna go sneaky second round decision or submission. Excuse me. Where am I? Tatsuro Taira, we're gonna go round 2 sub, and we're gonna go with Rayan Dos Santos decision.
All right, and then last but not least, Gordo, what do you got for quick picks?
Yeah, with all the low-level dogs I'm picking this week, maybe it's a good thing I'm not doing any content next week. I can't get shamed for it. Let's go Song Yadong KO for Anthony Smith, sub 2. Tim Elliott, decision. Nasrat Haqparast, decision. Andre Muniz, sub 1. Yadong Song, decision. I don't have the balls to actually say Shannon Ross, so maybe value, but still got to pick Hyun-sung Park, KO 1. Melt Costa, KO 2. Stephanie Egger, decision. Tatsuro Taira, sub 1. And I said a lot of submissions. Let's go another one. Toledo Allan, sub 1.
I can see that. I can see an early sub there. All right. So yeah, guys, there you have it. Thank you so much for watching. And to kick it around, Uncle Weezy, what do you got for content for the rest of the week?
Going live actually in an hour for Ask Weezy. Not the best idea. I'm not feeling the best, but I didn't do a full card breakdown this week, so I want to open up the database, give you guys a chance to ask me any questions. I've got my significant strike template ready to go, prop template ready to go, all the stats. Come hang out, 10 o'clock Central Time, Ask Weezy on my channel. Oh, yeah, and we got to stack cash tickets like flapjacks, and we got to bathe in the blood of our vanquished Draftkings enemies. Yes.
Yeah, you almost forgot it. I mean, I know you're
sick,
but
dude.
I know you're sick, but
I'm not 100%. I'm not even 50%.
Yeah. Appreciate you, Weezy, for coming on, even though you're sick. That's awesome. Glad to always have you on. Gordo, I know you have final exams, right? You said you had like 11 of them. You said something crazy, right?
I do. So now I'm down to, I only have 9 remaining, including one tomorrow. So we're doing that. But it's okay. It's good. I appreciate you guys helping me, take a little break from studying and break down some fights. I appreciate all you guys. Wish you guys all the best of luck in this card this weekend as well. Only a couple fights left. And with my heavy workload next week, this is my last piece of content for 2023. So make sure to take the whole month of December to go give me my Christmas gift and subscribe to the Plays and Fades YouTube channel. Check me out there on Twitter at GamblesGordo. Also, always feel free to check out my content there and show some love to these other guys. I'll be checking them out next week. When I don't have the time to do the research myself, I'll go over there and I'll see what they're going to do. And I appreciate all of you guys for tuning in and the 3 guys around me for a great year. Wish everybody the best of luck.
Let's go and enjoy the break, Gordo. Enjoy the exams and best of luck on them as well. I know you'll kill it. You seem like a really smart guy. Monk, let them know what you got going on this week.
Yeah, Monk and Lou's happy hour, of course, tomorrow at 11 p.m. Central Time. Not much else going on, just doing, like I said earlier, tons and tons of data entry, looking to get that finished before next year's fights start. We're really looking forward to, let's not forget about the pay-per-view next week. So we've got one more card after this one. Other than that, man, really, honestly, congratulations to you, Brady. Congratulations to your entire family. Welcome the new addition into said family. So yeah, big shout out to you guys. Glad to hear everybody's doing well, and that made my day when I saw it this morning. So big ups to you and your family.
Thanks, Monk. It was a rough last 48 hours. I can't wait to. I'm going to try to sleep all day tomorrow. That's the plan. But was glad to welcome to the family Jun-yong Park Brady,
the Iron Turtle himself.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, guys. It's a card this week. We definitely have a card this week. That's for sure. We're ending the card or the year with a bang next week. UFC 296, incredible card. So I'm glad the UFC can at least go out there, put on a great card for the last show of the year. And yeah, guys, thank you for watching. Leave a like on your way out. Subscribe to the channel, and best of luck for UFC Vegas 83. See you guys later.